And I have to say, anytime you get a call telling you that you had saved hundreds of thousands of dollars legally and in such a happy circumstance, you can't be anything except completely elated and thrilled. Hi, my name is Phil Fernandez, and I am a retired CEO of a software company, built and led a company called Marketo for a number of years, and had the opportunity to retire from that 3 years ago. And since then, while I have been living a retired life, I have been really spending my time sitting on corporate boards, one in Boston, two in New York City, and some here in the San Francisco Bay Area. And so an airplane has been very important to me to get back and forth and meet those commitments, as well as the fact that I fly the plane. And so it's also my primary source of fun and recreation these days, in addition to being key for my business. I've been flying since 1978 and have over the years owned a Mooney, Malibu, and then most recently my Phenom 300 that I'm flying today. One of the reasons that I picked and decided to fly private was the tremendous efficiency it provides. When I sit on, for example, a board in Boston, and often will have another commitment just the same day in New York City, the ability to work between several cities rapidly and efficiently like that is phenomenal. For me too, then, flying the plane is a tremendous source of personal satisfaction. Since I do pilot it myself, it's also a challenging and enjoyable activity, in addition to being an essential tool for my business. I found Aero Marine Tax Professionals quite in a stroke of luck. Another friend of mine had bought a Pilatus PC-12, and I believe did business with you. And he had, just in passing, mentioned that I should look into both the use tax exemption, and that Aero Marine was going to be the right place to go. So it was a personal referral from another pilot that led me to meet Aero Marine Tax Professionals. The sales process was really quite simple in my case. I reached out and I believe placed a call to your office, and I think reached Tom directly and had the chance to talk through exactly how your service worked. And since I had already received a trusted recommendation, I did not compare or look at any other opportunities for how to work on my use tax exemption. But it was really a no-brainer to sign up with Aero Marine from our first conversation. So the process of getting engaged with Aero Marine and eventually into the hands of Julie was a quite easy process. After the initial sales discussion, your office sent me a 1 or 2 page contract that laid out what the services would be and the expectations that were set as part of the service. And then I was introduced to Julie, who took over my account and introduced me to the procedures and the methods in which I would supply documentation, and we would conduct the next 6 months, during which I was working on the test period for the use test. So the core of our process was, of course, a 6-month test period during which I was flying the airplane for business and needed to provide documentation and details of how that took place to Aero Marine each month. So every month as I flew the airplane, I knew that I needed to meet certain standards for how much of the use of the airplane was for business. And then I made it my process that every time I flew the plane for business, I would ask for appropriate written documentation that I had been at the place or done the business that I stated. Then at the end of each month, Julie would reach out to me and ask me to provide my package. And I sent in then by email all of the details of how I had flown, where I had flown, and what the business uses were for that month. And then we were able to confirm and make sure that all of the details I supplied met the needs of Julie and Aero Marine. And we closed out each month and turned our attention to, again, flying and providing documentation for the next month. It was amazing when I found out that California had granted my use tax exemption. I didn't know how long it was going to take, but I was sitting in my kitchen when Julie called, and I saw from caller ID that it was Aero Marine. And I immediately was hoping that it was good news. And indeed, she was able to provide me the good news that she had heard from California and that my use tax exemption had been granted. Well, from this great outcome, I am absolutely thrilled with everything that Aero Marine did for me. And I'd like to thank Julie and you, Tom, and everyone for the opportunity to work with you. It was really a great experience. You set my expectations going in that it was going to be a strict, kind of rigorous process, and you followed through with your end of the deal at every step of the way. And a delighted client, and thank you everyone for all the great work you did for me. I was happy about the service because it really gave me confidence that it was going to produce a great result in the end. Every time I submitted my monthly package, I would usually get a question or two to make sure we had all the documentation in place. But it was really confidence building that we were putting together a package that could not and would not be denied by the state when it was time to submit. And I felt that we were just together building a very good track record in case to have a successful outcome of our work together. If I was asked by others about the use tax exemption and how to get it done, I would be an instant advocate for Aero Marine Tax Professionals. I would delightedly reference anyone that I knew needed your services to Aero Marine in a minute because of the precision and rigor and excellence. And I love working with anyone in the business world that says what they're going to do and then does what they say. That wins my respect and admiration. And at each step of the way, Aero Marine said what they were going to do, did what they said, and delivered. Very happy customer, and I would happily reference anybody to your services. There was a process that Julie sent out right at the beginning, which is, when you send something to us, we will acknowledge it, or you please acknowledge emails. And you had a cadence to the process that sort of just kind of, as I said, gave me confidence that we were, building the package and getting everything right at each step of the way. And I liked that kind of precision and self-assurance at each step of the way. It was a really good process that gave, like I said, gave me confidence that we were all on track. It's a daunting thing, right? As I was, newly learning to fly the jet and everything, to ensure that I was, keeping on the business stuff and not just, training or, whatever. So I appreciate you kind of you were a super help to keep it all on track.